Good afternoon and welcome to the latest issue of Print21, the weekly video news bulletin for the Australia and New Zealand print industry. This issue is sponsored by Ball & Doggett, Australia's largest supplier of printable materials and press room consumables. Good news to start the news this week. The federal government has just backflipped on its decision to dump the print pamphlet from the upcoming voice referendum. It will now print and mail a pamphlet to every household in Australia, 9.3 million households. The decision coming after a strong campaign by Print Employers Association, PVCA, amongst others. PVCA campaigned to the Prime Minister and to multiple politicians, including the Leader of the Opposition, Peter Dutton, essentially arguing that no printed pamphlet was discriminatory, as significant swathes of the population were not digitally or are not digitally enabled. PVCA argued that it is only print that is capable of reaching all citizens, and only print that is capable of engaging with them all, particularly those without ready access to the internet or digital communications, typically found in lower socio-economic groups, in regional areas, amongst the elderly, and crucially, amongst the indigenous population. Dutton demanded a printed pamphlet, arguing that 40% of voters preferred print, with the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, ultimately agreeing, and ordering Special Minister of State, Don Farrell, to begin the process, overturning what the committee originally decided when they decided to dump it. The voice pamphlet will be the biggest print job of the year by far. It will go to all 9.3 million Australian households. Pagination is not yet decided, but the last referendum pamphlet for a republic in 1999, that ran to a whopping 72 pages, although it's unlikely the voice pamphlet will be that big. PVCA CEO Kelly Northwood said, "It's a great result. We have to applaud Peter Dutton and all the politicians that have recognised the value of print in such an important matter." PVCA, said Northwood, seeks to provide data-driven arguments to policymakers and legislators because the data isn't an opinion, it's a fact. She said, "We've also been heartened by the support for print, shown particularly on Talkback Radio, whose airwaves," she said, "have been full of people wanting the printed pamphlet." She said, "It shows the print has a lot of support out in the community." It's results season at the big end of town, and those that we've had so far bode well for the printing industry. Strong growth in its Australian flexibles packaging operation helped packaging giant Amcor, the world's biggest packaging company, to a 6% uptick in sales revenue for the first half of the year, and 8% rise in its EBIT. And the company signalled it will continue to invest in growth opportunities. Net sales for the world's biggest packaging company for the 6 months to December were US $7.35 billion, net income $691 million. That was up by 62% on the same period last year. Adjusted EBIT up by 8% on a comparable currency basis to $791 million for the 6 months. The very strong Australian billboard business helped drive revenue at the world's biggest outdoor media business, JC Decaux, up by 21% in 2022. Australian billboard revenue has rebounded strongly, and in fact the strongest of all for JC Decaux, and is already well ahead of pre-pandemic 2019 figures, to the tune of double digits. The JC Decaux figures, they were reflected across Australia, with annual revenue from out-of-home advertising, like this content behind me, for 2022 topping $1 billion in Australia for the first time. Print share continues to be squeezed by digital's inexorable rise, although print saw a 10% increase in revenue growth over the last year. Digital now accounts for 64% of all outdoor media revenue. That's 5% up on the same period last year. Print share is now at an all-time low, 36%. However, in cash terms spent on print in 2022, the figure rose to $380 million, up by 10% on the $341 million for 2021. Outdoor Media Association is now projecting an annual compound growth rate of 9% over the next 4 years. Most of that will be coming from digital, of course, but printed products, printed outdoor like this behind me, still has a healthy outlook. On outdoor print, QMS Print CEO Nathan Sable has left the company. He's now starting his own business, SIXP, which will integrate and aggregate the supply needs that bring marketing, events, sports and brands to life. SIXP will buy print, signage, promotional products and apparel for its clients as part of what he says will be a full-service package designed to provide all aspects of events, focusing on sports, entertainment, conferences, festivals, retail, advertising and brands. Services at SIXP will include print procurement and installation, also event staffing, logistics, settlement takedown management, as well as security and catering. SIXP will also provide strategic input where required. Sable, who's also a qualified yoga teacher, has been CEO at QMS Print for the past 5 years. Prior to that, he was CEO of Omnigraph, which he sold to QMS for the past 21 years. As well as Omnigraph, QMS Print also owns print businesses MMT and BMG. Finally this week, the Queensland print industry is coming together with a special charity luncheon event to support Small Steps for Hannah. That aims to halt the cycle of domestic violence. It was set up, the charity set up in the wake of the horrific roadside murder of Hannah Clark and her 3 children by her estranged husband. The event will be supported, or is supported, by PVCA, LIA and Women in Print. The print industry lunch features 2 AFL legends as guest speakers, Emma Zielke and Jason Akamanis. It's slated to be held on Friday 24th February at Trade Coast Hotel in Pinkenba from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. And lunch also features keynote speeches from Women in Print's Morag Pugh, PVCA CEO Kelly Northwood and LAI Queensland President Mel Ireland. Go to print21.com.au for full details on all this event and where you'll find a link to book your tickets, and go to print21.com.au for all these stories and more. For now, this is Wayne Robinson, editor of Print21, signing off for another week from the industry's weekly video news bulletin, Play Print21, with thanks to our sponsor, Ball & Dogger.